Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Calvin, and in this video series, I'm going to show you how I renovated this house and took it from looking like this to looking like this.
Woke up this morning, now watch me step. The week was murder.
I hope you enjoy.
Get rid of the stress.
From day 22 to 27, while my tapers were inside making a mess, I moved to the back room to also make a mess, insulating and trying to finish this space. I started by ripping everything back down to the studs, including getting rid of that false ceiling. So here's the ductwork going into the cavity, which will go across to that hole over there.
I'm gonna go out and have a good time. Ain't nothing gonna stop me tonight. Ain't nothing gonna stop me tonight. Go throw my clothes on, tell my crew what's up. Just wanna party. Ain't nobody looking for love. The music's popping, the speed has got me feeling alive. Head to the strip, these wheels gon' light up the night. I'm living in a fantasy, come on and take a ride with me. I'm tryna put your mind at ease, let me know that you're feeling me. I'm living in a fantasy, come on and take a ride with me. I'm tryna put your mind at ease, come on and
Alright, so I'm in that back room right now, and I've done a ton of filming over the last couple of days. So basically I have replaced the window here, got a new door. Now this was normally a 70, I think it was a 79 inch door, and I actually just cut off the bottom because I'm limited by how much headroom I have here with the door. If you remember, the old door had this like 6-inch step, so I was able to get at least 6 inches on the bottom of the door. There's the old door right there. And I've cut the siding, you can see here, up to accommodate. The old siding used to end here. So I've gained a lot of vertical space in this door. And so I just have to flash around the top and sides here. And I've put some blocking there for that. With this window, I also increased the size of the, so it was a 5x3 window before, but the measurements were kind of weird. It literally had like glass panes like that just in between wood, so not great, especially when I'm insulating this room here. So I had to extend my window out a little bit, and again I've put flashing, and I'll be able to just slide new flashing all the way around and make this kind of whole area here look good. And right now I'm putting up insulation in the ceiling. I'm going to be putting drywall in here, so I've been putting up these 2x4s. I was going to use like 1x6 or 1x4 strapping, but the problem is they're 24 inches on center, and this one's even longer. It's like 32 inches, and so I didn't want drywall I didn't want ripples in the ceiling, so I've got nice solid backing. On this back wall, as you can see, I put up a beam here, and I've put some kind of 2x6s across. Now this kind of does two purposes. One is it makes a kind of a flat part here, because above I have a vent which goes from the kitchen, so that's going to be ducting out there. I'm about to drill that hole, but also there's some vents up top here. You can see right there's a hole in the insulation, and there's one also on the other side, and obviously I want the inside of here to be insulated, and then this little above attic part, you can call it, that can be vented just so it doesn't get musty or doesn't trap moisture. We'll continue with the insulation, the vapor barrier, putting up my ceiling strapping, and I can already feel that this room is warmer than it used to be. The last thing I'll have to do once all this is sealed in with my vapor barrier is address the floor. I think the floor is about like 2 inches of basically solid wood. There's kind of beams that run this way, and then underneath there's beams that run that way, but it's not insulated. So what I'm going to do is I was just going to put down some insulation on the floor, like closed cell stuff, then plywood, and then flooring, but I want to maximize as much vertical height, especially near the door. So I think what I'm going to do, which is going to be pretty fun, is crawl underneath here and insulate from underneath, and then do my best to kind of air seal the floor as well. So let's get to work. On day 26, I finished with the ducting for the kitchen fan, making sure my last 5 feet were insulated. I closed up the ceiling, finished off the vapor barrier, and added some insulation to that wall separating the house from this room. I also spent some time on the walls and ceiling, knocking off the high spots on the wall and adjusting my strapping on the ceiling to bring everything into a nice plane. While I waited for my drywall to come for that back room, I hopped back in the house now that my tapers were away and started priming all the walls. So you'll notice here that I started to paint the walls gray, which is the normal paint color I use for all of my rentals. But this place, I wanted to try to make things a little bit nicer, so I consulted one of my friends who's an interior designer, and she had some really good suggestions for alternate colors. And the one I ended up going with was an off-white called Greek Villa, which really made the place a lot warmer and inviting. So after 2 days of painting gray on the main floor and part of the upstairs, which I would later go back and cover over, my cabinets arrived from IKEA, so I got to work assembling those. Alright, so this is where we're putting in one of the last base cabinets. As you can see here, just before I close it up, I've put a little bit of insulation, just because right where the the sill of the concrete is, there's a little bit of a cold draft coming through, so I've done my best to put some rock wool there and try to stop that draft from coming in. Now originally I had just a 15-inch cabinet right here. It's actually that one right there. But when I put it in, I kind of noticed that I've got a good amount of space here that would just be empty. So what I did is I bought a 30-inch one, and I've already pre-installed one door. But the way it'll work is that door will just be tight up against here. You can't, excuse me, can't actually open it, but we'll still have access to one of the doors. So when you open it, you'll have all this extra storage in and around. Now the only thing I'm gonna have to do with this cabinet is if I kept it the way it is, the door would open this way, which would be a little bit unnatural for getting stuff in. So what I'm gonna make some custom piece that sits here, maybe goes in that far and has a support beam on top. And that way I will be able to have the door kind of pivot open like this with the opening side here, because that's a lot easier to access than trying to go in like that. All right, so I now have this piece all glued in, and unfortunately I wasn't able to hide it. As you can see, we're pretty limited for space down there, and I couldn't get that cast iron piece to go into the wall any sooner, because I had to do a coupling between the cast iron and the ABS here. So it is what it is, and I didn't feel like replacing the cast iron stack, like cutting out a section and turning that joint towards the wall. So there's a small section that sticks out, but I've tried to make it as good as possible.
Kingdom come, 'cause my mother told me as a child, boy, don't play around.
now we have all this extra storage and then behind here. So super happy with how this cabinet turned out.
Be bad with you. 'Cause my mother told me as a child, boy, don't play around with fire, 'cause you might just end up getting burned. And I know the wicked never rest, so I always try my best, but there's some lessons.
All right, so I just added another row of flooring. You can see here that I had previously stopped it at this row right here because I didn't exactly know where the floor base was, and I thought that was enough, but turns out it wasn't, so I just added another row. We'll get the feet back on, the cabinet leveled, and then we're basically done with the bases. So my installation of the kitchen cabinets was going surprisingly well. That was until I started working on the microwave oven. Let's give this a try. Whoa! Look at this screw. There's like nothing to screw in. I'm like, why isn't it seating? Interesting. I guess I'm just hand tightening this one. I'll grab some pliers and. Alright, it's pretty good. Vent is here. Works. Outlet. Honestly, I could just hardwire it, but I'll probably just put an outlet there. Ducting will come up. And out like that. Sweet. Alright. I wouldn't do a kitchen installation without putting in the microwave twice. The problem with having it tight against the wall is these doors are not zero clearance. And so my problem running into here is... Alright, so I'm going to cut myself off there, but long story short, these microwaves are not zero clearance. And what that means is if you have them butted right up against a wall or another cabinet, the door, when it opens, needs about 3/4 of an inch of extra room to fully pivot open. And I should have known this because I've had this exact problem before. I've put in microwaves right up tight against the wall and then obviously they don't open. So if you're a manufacturer of an above range microwave, please make something that's zero clearance. It would make my life a lot easier. Alright, there we go. This thing is in. I put some washers just to kind of give myself a little bit more grip here so I can tighten down on this guy here. And it lines up perfectly with this cabinet, which again, we leveled, so super happy. And as you can see behind, we put that 1/2 inch spacer, which again, turned out to be even better because now we have more fastening points, not only on the rail to the wood, but from the wood to the studs behind, so perfect. So I installed it for a second time, and it still doesn't open properly. So what I have to do is... So I'll save you from this explanation, but basically I decided to make a 3/4 of an inch spacer to sit between the two cabinets and give my microwave enough room to fully open. Alright, so I only have 2-inch nails. This is shorter than 2-inch, or brads, so I gotta hit this at an angle and hope I don't mess this up. Let's go. Bam. Okay, and then I'll just do one like here for now. Alright, recut, redo it. and recut and redo it, I did. And this time, instead of using brad nails, I used small screws to hold that little spacer block in place. Alright, so we're in the kitchen. We've got everything installed. Appliances came. I moved the stove in, as well as the fridge. This is a special-ish type of fridge. It's counter depth, and the reason for that is normal fridges would extend to about here, which would kind of impede the walkway. So I wanted something that wasn't too deep. So I think this is a great fit for the space. So this fridge is actually missing 2 pieces. I got 2 of the bottom shelves, and I got 4 of the middle shelves, and none of the upper shelves. Stove was great. All these cabinets were great. I actually really like the IKEA system. Having that track that you secure to the wall and then just clicking the cabinets on is so much easier. I can assemble the upper cabinets by myself. What I used to do is I'd assemble all the cabinets and then have, you know, like my dad come out and help me, hold the cabinet against the wall and then drill through the back into studs. So this system makes it so much easier. I decided to go with a glass one here as well as there. I just thought it would help kind of open up the space, and I'm really happy I did that because I think it looks awesome. And of course my nice blue lowers. So now that the kitchen is done, I have templating coming tomorrow. Dishwasher is coming also tomorrow. So I still have to drill a hole through there and run the water for that. And countertops are ordered and being cut. And I talked to the manufacturer of the countertops, and we should have some really cool footage of them actually cutting the specific countertop that goes in here. So super excited for that. So for those of you that have seen my other videos, you'll recognize this machine. It basically uses a laser to precisely map out the exact dimensions of the countertop, which they can upload to a computer and have a perfect fit every time. Alright, so I have the dishwasher plumb, level, and so I left a little space here. You know, I could have raised it up, but I like to put a kind of a support piece across here, and then usually it has these tabs which you can screw up into that little support piece, and that just kind of holds the face of the dishwasher in, because if it's not secured here, when you go to like pull the handle open and it's unlatching from here, it'll kind of shudder.
Ideas will pop up with a new, different wind. I'm gonna let it take me to people that will trust me. I've been stuck inside my house.
This is the hot. I did check. That would kind of suck if you put it on the wrong one. These are just some brass caps that I put on while I'm renovating, because I've not done it before and then debris gets inside of the pipe And then when you go to turn on your faucet, you know, I had one where it wasn't working, or I thought the hot water wasn't working because there's just little bits of stuff that kind of went in there and clogged the line that went up to the faucet. So I just cover these now and prevents things down the line.
Here I am, about to explode. I feel I lost like never before. I'll take a chance on reaching my joy.
Should be tight enough.
My heart is full of hope.
On day 36, I got to pick out my piece of quartz I'm going to use for the countertop, and I installed my cabinet handles.
I feel I lost like never before. I'll take a chance on reaching my joy.
And I have two sizes of handles. I have 4-inch, and I think, well, these must be, 5.5-inch. And the reason for that is on the small drawers, I thought this was too big of a handle. And on the big doors, I thought this was too small of a handle. Like, to me, visually that just looks small and doesn't really fit the grandeur of the cabinet. All the 40 inches, we're gonna put the bigger handle, and on the smaller ones, we're gonna go back to the little ones, because again, I think that's too big, in my opinion, for those, so. That's good, that's good. And you don't want to do it too tight, because I have in the past, and then it just kind of creates a little crease around here as it sucks this in and kind of breaks the surface. So I just have it on kind of the second setting here, and I'm being pretty careful with the trigger. So alright, so now we've installed that blue piece, which will look pretty good.
And that little piece of wood is purely aesthetic. It's just to cover up that piece of wood we put on top of the dishwasher to help secure it.
And yes, I did choose a dark inside of the dishwasher to match the cabinets.
Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe down below, because in next week's episode, I'm going to show you how I tiled the bathroom, finished painting the house, did all the trim work, installed the countertop, passed my electric inspection, and how I almost convinced the utility company to give me free power. See you next week.